All right, guys, we are back. It's another Wednesday, which means it's time for week 3 start sit. Before we jump into starts for the week 3 games, though, let's quick jump in through. I want to give you some highlights and lowlights for my week 2 and tell you how I did. Week 2 was actually pretty good outside of a few of my starts not playing due to injury, so hopefully you got them out of your lineup. Sam Bradford missed time, and Corey Davis didn't go. So those were two guys I called out as starts. They didn't play. My buy recommendation for Corey Davis still stands. In fact, he's probably even cheaper now. I even have one league where he fell to waivers, and I'm putting in a claim on him. So keep an eye out for Corey Davis. If he can come back and play, I liked what I saw week 1, and I still think he's worth something. For the highlights, Ty Montgomery at Atlanta gave you 110 total yards on 16 touches, 6 of them catches for 2 touchdowns. Finished number 2 running back overall. Michael Crabtree gave us a 6 catch for 80 yards and 3 touchdown games, was your number 1 receiver. Zach Ertz finished as a top 5 tight end, going 5 for 97. And Baltimore defense gave you 17 points. So those were 4 of my starts that I wanted to highlight. That went really, really well. On the sit side, both quarterbacks I highlighted had just pretty mediocre days. Kirk Cousins gave you 179 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Mariota gave you 215, a touchdown, and an interception. Both finished outside the top 15 at quarterback. Isaiah Crowell had 10 carries for 37 yards. This is even worse than I was expecting. I thought he was going to go for about 50 to 60 yards. Hugh Jackson needs to get him the ball more. And then the Minnesota Vikings defense at Pittsburgh gave you 2 points total. They got game scripted out even worse than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a relatively high-scoring game. But what ended up happening with Case Keenum there, Pittsburgh just ran the ball down their throats, put up a ton of yards, and made things go down the tubes. For the start misses, I had a couple that I really wanted to highlight. LaShawn McCoy, Carolina. I don't know what happened to Buffalo's offense in this game, but they looked atrocious. 12 rushes for 9 yards from McCoy. The only thing that kind of bailed him out is he had 6 catches for 34 yards. So if you're in a half-point or full-point PPR, he didn't completely kill you, but it was still really, really ugly. And then Larry Fitzgerald, I said, was a start. And Carson Palmer apparently forgot that Larry Fitzgerald exists. He had 3 catches, 21 yards. The 2 getting the targets were mostly Jerron Brown and J.J. Nelson. So if you started one of them, you had a much better day. Larry Fitzgerald, not so much. On the sit side that I missed on, I called Alshon Jeffrey and Martavis Bryant to have bad days. They crushed it. I didn't expect Carson Wentz to throw the ball 50 times, which is why Jeffrey did so good. He caught 7 for 92 and a touchdown. And Martavis Bryant was able to break a couple big plays, including one for a 35-yard touchdown against the Vikings where he took a crossing route to the house. He put up a stat line of 391 and 1. You're going to have some misses from time to time. The other one I missed, I expected Arizona's defense to do better against Brissett. Jack Doyle turned around and throws up a stat line of 8 for 79, or overall a very, very good day in any sort of half or full point PPR league for a tight end. So overall, though, I'm pretty happy with my week 2 calls. Let's hope my week 3 calls are as good. I am dropping the number just to try to shorten this segment up a little bit. So I'm doing 2 calls for starts at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and only 1 sit call at those positions and 1 sit at everything else. So my starts, Matt Stafford versus Atlanta. It's at home for Stafford. He's already put up a top 2 performance this season in a shootout type situation. It's going to be a shootout type situation against Atlanta, even though I think Detroit's defense is better than people are giving him credit for. So I'm really excited to see what this can do. I do think he's got a top 5 finish peg, and he's my number 1 quarterback this week. And Cam Newton against New Orleans. Because if you need a get-right game, play New Orleans. Their defense is looking like it might be as bad as their historically bad year 2 years ago. If you get a chance to, any offensive player you can start against New Orleans, go right ahead. I've got Jonathan Stewart and McCaffrey, both as running back 2s. And I've got Kelvin Benjamin as a top 15 play, and Devin Funchess is even in flex consideration. And Ed Dixon is not the worst tight end stream you could do this week. So you have options on the Carolina offense this week against a terrible New Orleans defense, and Carolina is at home. For running backs, this is kind of me just putting my stamp of approval on Carlos Hyde after I saw what he did to the Seahawks last week, and I want to see some more of it. I think he's going to be able to run on LA. Hoyer is not getting the job done in the passing game. They're going to keep giving the ball to Carlos Hyde to try to keep this game close. I still think the Rams win, but they're not going away from the running game even when they're losing, as long as they're not getting blown out. So Carlos Hyde has got my stamp of approval. I've got him as a top 14 play this week, and he should be in every starting lineup. And he's even the type of player I might go to try to trade for, because what I've seen on tape does not seem to match up with what people are valuing him as. Go get him. He looks awesome. And Tariq Cohen versus Pittsburgh. I think they're going to try to limit Howard's touches this week, which means Cohen is the guy. They don't really have anybody else. So Pittsburgh's probably going to boat race him. It's going to get ugly early, and then Cohen's going to get passing yards work. I think he probably has a floor of 7 or 8 catches. So if you're in any sort of PPR league, Cohen must be in your lineup with that type of floor. For receiver, Keenan Allen versus Kansas City is my number 4 receiver this week. Slot receivers seem to do really, really well against Kansas City. Danny Amendola week 1, and then Aguilar had some opportunities, was able to score a touchdown. And Aguilar is not in the same orbit as Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a much, much better player and should dominate this game. Devontae Parker versus the New York Jets. Crabtree crushed the Jets last week. Let's go to younger Michael Crabtree and see how he does. Jay Cutler's going to throw it deep to him a bunch. He has an upside shot at a touchdown or 2. Devontae Parker should give you a very, very good week. I've got him as a wide receiver too. Delaney Walker versus Seattle. Seattle has seemed to struggle with skill position players. They're not very good at offense. Tennessee seems to like to feed their tight ends when Corey Davis is out. Jonnu Smith may even be worth a dart throw if you're in a super, super, super deep league here. But Delaney Walker I really like, and he's the number 1 target I'm going to be looking at for for Mariota this week. I really don't like Decker and Rashard Matthews going up against that secondary. Last one for me for the starts is Philadelphia Eagles defense against New York Giants. That offensive line is terrible. Philly's defensive line is very, very good, and the Eagles seem to be really good at creating turnovers and making big plays happen. So if you're looking for a boom especially, go get the Eagles and start them this week. I think you're going to be very happy with them. On the sits, just let's get through these real fast here. Russell Wilson versus Tennessee. Tennessee's got a good front 7, terrible offensive line for the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson's really struggled so far this year. I think at best he finishes probably as quarterback 14 or 15. He's ranked 13 for me, but I'm being a little optimistic. I was super high on him coming into the year, and it has not panned out for me at all. I look like I'm really wrong on that one. DeMarco Murray versus Seattle. I don't think he's even going to go. If he does go, I think he's limited. Try to get DeMarco Murray out of your lineup. I would rather start Hunter Henry this week based on what I'm getting on initial injury reports. I will keep you updated to that more on Saturday when I get to in and outs, but currently I'm pegging DeMarco Murray as a sit. Tyrell Williams versus Kansas City should get the Marcus Peters treatment. As I said, I really like Keenan Allen. I do not like Tyrell Williams this week, so I'm not doing a blanket start on all San Diego pass catchers, just Keenan Allen. The last one, related to Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham versus Tennessee. Once again, don't think he's likely to go. If he does go, he's going to be limited, and that offense is really going to struggle against that front 7. He may be asked to block a lot. He may be in a situation where he's getting covered by their linebackers, which are probably the best part of that defense. The secondary is the problem. If you're going to start a player for the Seahawks, look to Doug Baldwin or Paul Richardson. Those are probably the only 2 I really like to start this week. Everybody else, I'm staying away from, and I'm including waiver love child, Chris Carson in that. That's all I got for this week. Please let me tweet at me if you use any of these players. Let me know how you feel they did, or if I influenced in your decision. I always appreciate props. You can follow the show at Beerfueled FF. New shots come out every single day. Individually, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury will be here tomorrow. He is at Thury BFF. And Christopher Hop BFF with 2 P's will be here Friday with DFS news, and I'll see you Saturday to cover in and out and give you one last news shot before the week 3 games start. Good luck in your week this week, and hopefully you get some good Thursday points if you start anybody. Carlos Hyde and Todd Gurley should be in your lineups. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys next time.